My name is Julia Simmons. I'm a nurse. I'm 38 years old and I live in Montgomery, Alabama. I've never been the type who likes to show off or draw attention, but what I experienced in that emergency room completely changed my life. And maybe it will change yours too. It all happened on an ordinary morning. I was on duty when I started to feel a strong pain in my chest, an absurd weakness. And suddenly, everything went dark. It was there that I died. Yes, my heart stopped. But what happened next wasn't darkness. It was light. Lots of light. And it was in this light that he appeared. Jesus. With eyes like flames, voice like waters, and a presence that no human being could describe without trembling inside. But the most shocking thing was what he told me. Jesus revealed something about Black people that will shake everything you believe about identity, pain, and purpose. If this story touches your heart, leave your like, share, and comment below. Now, take a deep breath, because this journey is just beginning. Before that day, I was just one of a million. Negress, Christian, working. Nurse at a public hospital in Montgomery, Alabama, for more than 12 years. I grew up in a Baptist family, hearing about Jesus every Sunday. But despite the faith taught, I carried within me a silent pain that few people around me could see. I have always struggled with my identity, not for lack of faith, but for a constant feeling of rejection, from society, from the media, from opportunities, and sometimes even within the church itself. I saw people who seemed more valued, more listened to, more welcomed. And I asked myself, does God see us the same way? I didn't say that out loud. Never. But inside me there was this latent doubt, this wound badly healed by history. I've been called exaggerated for feeling this. I've heard that racism is over, that everything is victimhood, as if the weight we carry is invisible. And I followed, helping patients, praying silently, hiding my issues, until that day. Until the cardiac arrest that took me out of this world and took me straight to the presence of the King of Kings. It was there that it all began. It was a muggy Tuesday morning. The shift had started at 6 a.m. and was already scheduled. I was attending patients at an almost automatic pace when I felt something strange, a sharp twinge in the chest, followed by a sudden dizziness. I leaned on the medication bench, trying to take a deep breath, but the pain increased. I tried to call someone, but my voice came out weak. The hallways began to spin before my eyes. I felt my legs give way. And then, darkness. Or at least, that's what I thought would come. But instead of darkness, something inexplicable happened. An absurd lightness took over me, as if the weight of the body, of the pain, of the whole world had been lifted. I opened my eyes, or rather, I realized I was seeing, even though my physical eyes were closed, it floated above my body. I saw nurses running, doctors trying to resuscitate. I saw my own body motionless on the stretcher. And strangely, I didn't feel afraid. I felt peace. A peace that no song, hug, or human word has ever been able to give me. It was as if the air had been exchanged for light, a living, warm, welcoming light. I was attracted to this light, as a child runs into its mother's arms, and then he appeared. In the midst of that indescribable glow, a figure began to form. Tall, imposing, and at the same time serene. His eyes crossed me, and in them there was no judgment, only a love so pure, so absolute that my spiritual heart broke into tears. It was Jesus. He didn't have to say his name. I knew it. My spirit knew. It was as if every part of my soul, even the ones I never understood here on earth, recognized that look. Jesus' eyes were like fire and tenderness at the same time. As if they burned away all the lie and at the same time healed every wound. He didn't arrive with words, arrived with presence. And what a presence. Everything around him was light, but not a light that merely illuminated. It was a light that revealed. It revealed truths about myself that I never wanted to face. Hidden traumas, silent pain, resentments disguised as strength. All this was laid bare before him, And yet, I felt loved. Totally loved. He approached. He didn't walk, he just came. And as he wrapped me in his arms, I felt as if I had returned to the place I should never have left. Jesus' embrace was like a blanket in a winter of soul, as if time stopped, as if all questions finally had an answer. I stood there in silence, until he looked me in the eye and for the first time spoke. His voice wasn't just sound, it was vibration, it was life, it was truth. And that's when everything changed, because what he said was about me, but it was also about many of us, about Black people, about pain, about the purpose and the question I never had the courage to ask out loud, was answered by him. Without me even having to open my mouth, the question Julia never dared to ask. And Jesus answered. I didn't say anything. But he answered me anyway. Jesus looked deep inside me, as if flipping through every hidden page of my story. And then, without my having to utter a word, he said, I know the pain of your people. At that moment, I collapsed. It was as if every tear contained in entire generations was running down my eyes. I never had the courage to ask. I never dared to say to God, why do Black people suffer so much? Why have we been sold, enslaved, silenced, ignored, even inside the churches? Why does the color of my skin still determine the value the world gives me? But he answered, and his answer was not generic. She was not evasive. She was direct, firm, and full of purpose. Jesus continued, they oppress the bodies, but they could not touch the spirit. The eyes of the world see inferiority, but my eyes see a resistant people, chosen to carry something that the world does not yet understand, healing through pain. I ran out of breath, as if his every word broke an invisible chain that I had carried since I was a child, and then he showed me. Visions, living images, as if I watched entire centuries in minutes. I saw chains, ships, ciabattas, Black women crying out in tongues you didn't understand. But heaven did. I saw churches closing their doors to Black people. But I also saw simple hovels, illuminated by true faith, where Black men and women, kneeling on the mud floor, spiritually supported neighborhoods, cities, generations. And then, Jesus told me something that changed everything. What the world has rejected, I have chosen. He who was humbled will be exalted. The shocking sight, the story behind Black suffering. The words of Jesus were still echoing within me as the light around us began to change. He told me, now I'll show you why. And then came the visions. I saw Africa before slavery. I saw vibrant kingdoms, science, art, ancient wisdom. I saw people connected with heaven, earth, and the Word, long before missionaries brought Bibles. There. Faith already lived there. But soon, the vision changed. Huge ships began to appear, currents, corals, men and women being uprooted from their villages, children being separated from their parents. And I saw the spirit of oppression laughing. Yes, laughing. It was a spiritual war. Jesus touched my shoulder and said, this was not just human greed. It was the enemy trying to silence a prophetic lineage. Those words burned like fire in my chest. No one had ever told me that. I saw churches falling silent, while Blacks were used as slaves. I saw pastors justifying racism with distorted verses. But I also saw another scene. Negroes hiding, praying in plantations, in basements, in spiritual tongues, and angels around them. Jesus explained, every cry was heard, every tear was recorded, every pain, a cry that touched the sky. And then, he showed me modern America. I saw forgotten neighborhoods, poverty, violence, police injustice. But I also saw resistance. I saw young Black men prophesying in the streets. I saw Black women raising entire families with faith and courage. I saw revivals happening in places where no one expected. I saw light in the darkness, and Jesus concluded, the suffering of Black people was not ignored. It was stored. And it's about to be turned into glory. Jesus reveals the prophetic role of Blacks in the end times. The vision slowly dissolved. And Jesus looked at me again with that look that saw even the parts of me that I myself hid. It was then that he revealed something that made my spirit tremble. Do you think all this pain was for nothing? Do you think the enemy would attack a people so much who do not have a specific calling in my plans? Jesus stretched out his hand, and with a gentle gesture, the sky opened like a curtain. Then I saw a crowd. Men, women, young Black people from all over the world, Africa, the United States, Haiti, Brazil, the Caribbean, all with the same sparkle in their eyes. They preached, they healed, they freed, they prophesied. And Jesus said, "In the last times I will raise up a generation forgotten by the world but marked by me. They will not only carry my glory, they will pour it out where no one wants to go." I saw great temples emptying out and streets filling with worship. I saw leaders being raised from within marginalized communities. I saw Black voices echoing with spiritual authority, restoring lives, confronting lies, revealing truths, and Jesus explained, "They are the wounded healers. They are the priests of the asphalt. They are the ones who know the pain. And therefore, they know how to heal." He showed scenes of what is yet to come. Spiritual awakenings in favelas, forgotten neighborhoods, prisons, public schools, not by human strategies, but by spirit and truth. The time of silence is over. They will be God's mouth where no one wants to hear. They are part of the final harvest. Those words burned like fire inside me. And at that moment, I understood. Jesus doesn't just see Black people. He marked them with eternal purpose. The return to the body and the transformative mission. After that last revelation, I felt something changing. The light began to recede little by little, not because I was disappearing, but because I was being pulled back. It was time to return. I looked at Jesus, tears streaming down my spiritual face, and said, "I don't want to go back. Here there is peace." And he answered me with a tender but firm smile. "You've been tagged, Julia, and now he has a mission. Take what you saw, talk, show, awake those who sleep." Then everything went white, and in the blink of an eye, I heard the sound of machines, someone screaming my name, a defibrillator, the smell of the hospital. I was back. The pain returned. So does gravity. But something in me had changed forever. In the weeks that followed, my colleagues said that I looked like someone else, and I was. I became bolder, more aware, and for the first time at peace with my identity, my history, and my mission, I started to discreetly share with close friends what I experienced, but I always heard the same thing. You need to tell the world that, and that's why I'm here now, telling you everything, even knowing that many will doubt, mock, ignore, but I can't be silent. Not after what I saw, not after what I heard, because my mission is not to please. My mission is to awaken, an urgent call. The time of the chosen ones has come. If you've made it this far, understand one thing. This story is not just about me. It's about you. It's about all of us. Jesus showed me that the time of the chosen ones has come. Those who have been silenced, rejected, devalued are being lifted up now, not to seek fame, but to bring healing, restoration, truth. Black people have not been forgotten by God. It was hidden, guarded as a precious vessel, which is now being revealed to fulfill a prophetic role in this end time. You who are Black and have always felt left out. You who heard that you were not capable, that you had no value, that your faith was not enough. Jesus saw every tear, and it's saying, "I called you." And you who are not Black, but feel in the spirit that this message is true, burn inside your chest. He was also called, because the harvest has no color, it has purpose. The time of the chosen ones has come. And if you're listening to this right now, it's no accident. Conclusion. What I experienced was not a dream, nor a delirium. It was a calling. A reminder that there is divine purpose in even the deepest wounds. And that Jesus didn't just come to save us, he came to wake us up. If this message touched your heart, please share it. Send it to someone who needs to remember that God has not forgotten him. Leave a comment, short, sign up. But most of all, pray. Ask for discernment. Ask for direction. For as Jesus said to me, he who has been humbled will be exalted, and time is running out.